everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in to No Vacancy. I am your host, Glenn Haussman. I'm excited that you have chosen to spend time with us today. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and all of that kind of stuff. While we're at it, I want to thank our friends over at Actabl. Actabl, they give you the power to profit. Please visit them at actabl.com and also go to hoteldata.com. They're going to help you with your budgeting for this year. All right, so I'm excited because today we're going to do something a little bit different. I got myself a special co-host because we've got a special guest, and I want this to be a super special show. And yes, I get paid a nickel every time I say the word special. So let's welcome Craig Sullivan to the show. My co-host from Friday Night Audit. You might know him from Click Media, where he does his content. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, great. Thank you for inviting me, Glenn. This is terrific. I really appreciate this.
Yeah, two things. Number one, you live in Newport Beach, and our guest today is inherently connected to that particular area. And number two, I don't have to work as hard. So it seems like a real win. You know?
Yeah, win for everybody.
All
Absolutely.
right. So let's bring in our guest. I'm going to let Dr. Producer Suzanne bring it. Well, I'm talking about Gary Sherwin, CEO of Visit Newport Beach. Gary, great to see you.
Glenn, Craig, great to see you. Great to be with you.
All right. So I'll tell you, I never know what someone's personality is going to be before they sign on. The second you signed on, I'm like, "Oh, he's got this California cool vibe. I think this is going to be a good, fun show."
He's in the best city in the state. Come on, Glenn. And
Yeah.
now comes up California, stays with me occasionally before we go to a conference or afterwards. So he's got to see our peaceful little hamlet and experience the food and beverage, the shopping, and everything else. So yeah.
But to be fair, Gary, only within a 6-block radius of his house because we refused to leave the island.
That's all you need is 6 block radius. And our
In a golf cart, we're good.
So Visit Newport Beach. Tell me a little bit about, let's just get, general overview here. What is your role in Visit Newport Beach? Because I think a lot of folks think of like the bigger CVBs, right? For the states, the major cities, but it's pretty cool that Newport Beach has dedicated resources to promoting itself.
It is. Our organization's been around now for, almost 50 years, believe it or not. And we were started in chamber like a lot of folks. But I think, one of the things that makes us unique is the fact that we are a destination marketing organization that really does compete, I think, with a lot of the big boys by virtue of necessity. And we tend to think LA, San Diego, San Francisco, they're the ones with all the DMOs. The reality is that a lot of work is done at the hyper local level, particularly in Newport Beach, where we are competing against many of those big cities. And we need to, because we are a luxury premier product with, some outstanding hotels, which, by the way, all of our hotels are locally owned.
Yeah.
I think that really sets us apart, is that, you have a lot of these investors that are on a global stage. Our hotels, in fact, are local. In fact, the ownership group of 3 of our hotels are right across the parking lot. They knock on our door. They come and see how we're doing, making sure we're filling their hotel rooms, all of that good stuff. But Newport Beach has had a very, I think, aggressive approach to going after marketing, because that is part of our history. It's part of why we were started, and that's kind of why we're here. We're a private nonprofit company, primarily privately funded too, which separates us from most DMOs. Most DMOs rely on city money or what they call tourism business improvement districts. We used to have one, but we are now primarily privately funded, which gives us a lot of flexibility to do what we need to do.
It's good to know that you're so perfect you don't need an improvement district.
Oh God, we never go there. We never go there.
No. Yeah.
They're game over.
Uh,
Yeah, but Craig,
what Gary's had to say is, the 3 hotels he's talking about right now, is the Balboa Bay Club. He's also got the Villa, a Marriott resort, and also the Pendray. And Glenn, you were on scene at our California Lodging Investment Conference when the Villa won Development Deal of the Year for the state of California at our conference.
Yep.
Eagle 4, the ownership group, does a great job. They've also got the golf course there as well. And if you look at Newport Beach, we've also got a new hotel that just opened, been re-imaged, reimagined, if you would, the Bay Shore over on the peninsula with our friends at Pacifica Hotels.
Oh,
And, it's a beautiful new boutique that just opened up last week or the week
yep.
before.
Yep.
I'm gonna be over there filming an episode, but, you know, this city's got this magic to it. My family dates back to over 55 years ago in Newport
Wow.
proper.
You
Uh,
predate Visit Newport Beach.
I do, even though I moved in 25 years ago.
Yeah.
Uh, but, we've got 2 outstanding boat races, from Newport to Ensenada.
Hey, Gary, if you didn't know your talking points, I love it.
And also
You didn't need me for this show. Just had Craig, you know?
over to Hawaii, the film festival, and great food and beverage.
So let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, Gary, and I think Craig is applying for a job to work hand in hand with you over there. There's a lot of luxury destinations, and you guys are homing in on that magical thing. But how do you translate what I know I feel when I'm there to telling people that's what you're going to feel and actually communicating that message so they come to you instead of 1,000 other places that they could go?
And when you hit upon, I think, often what is the Achilles heels of most DMOs, where our industry is well known for making a lot of promises, a lot of implied promises through their advertising and their messaging. And
Yeah, one day I will walk hand in hand with someone on the beach. That's what I'm hoping.
there you go. There you go.
Sorry, go on, Gary.
No, and I think, one of the things we're very cognizant of is that, in today's era where the most powerful form of marketing is word of mouth marketing, and obviously that includes social media and all of that, we need to make sure that the experience that we are selling is in fact consistent with the experience that people are receiving. And so we want to make sure we're consistent. However, we are an aspirational destination. We have always sold ourselves
Right.
as an aspirational destination. We also want to make sure it's an accessible destination in the sense that it doesn't mean that you have to have millions of dollars to wanting to visit us, but that you want this $1 million experience that's accessible to you and attainable to you in many different forms. And we need to be able to make sure that the customer sees it and feels it and understands that, while at the same time saying that when you come to Newport Beach, you're coming to a place very different than perhaps where you've come from. And that's why when people say, "How's Newport Beach?" I say, we live in a bubble of unreality.
Ah,
And we like that bubble. We're happy to live in that bubble. But in fact, it is a bubble and it does not represent the average experience that people have. But we want people to be able to find ways within their own means to be able to access it, you know,
correct.
and participate. So we do that through a variety of different experiences. Certainly, we have our Pelican Hills, but we have Bay Shores, which, Craig was just talking about, 25-unit boutique property at a much lower price point. But still, if you look at that hotel, it gives you an aspirational Newport Beach feel. It is not your traditional motel, and it was an existing property that was reimagined, and it is very different than what it was before, but it still has an aspirational quality and a sense that you are still in Newport Beach. You're not in Huntington Beach. You're not in Laguna Beach. You're in our unique destination with our unique culture and style.
Yeah, Craig.
No, absolutely. And, world-class shopping, we're also close to John Wayne Airport. We've got Disneyland not far. Beyond that, you've also got
Area in that is that something new that we should know?
it's been around for a little more than half a century, but, yeah, I'd say it's new-ish.
Yeah. It's very convenient. It's like I think 20 minutes for you or something like that.
Right,
Yeah.
but Gary's right. It's a very unique bubble. It's pro-business, it's pro-resident, it's pro-visitor. And if you look at the Newport Beach Boat Parade, it's 20 years younger than the Rose Parade. And it we get people not only from across the country, but, from destinations outside the United States coming in to see this. It's a big, big thing here in the city, and it gives us, you know, a moment to show off. So, there's just so much. We're just gonna scratch the surface here, but, Gary and his team's doing an outstanding job for
That's cool. Uh, oh, uh, Gary, so how are you thinking then about that the way people want to have luxury today? Because I feel like, and you correct me if I'm wrong, you guys are like towing a line between luxury and being casual at the same time, right? That barefoot kind of luxury vibe, sort of a thing. That seems like a tough alley to go down to accurately do all of your messaging because it seems pretty flexible, but it's hard to balance the vibe on that one.
Well, I think it's the evolving nature of what luxury means now to the average consumer. There was a time where formality and, rigid hotel protocols and, they were men in fancy outfits. They would let you in if you were dressed appropriately, and if you came in cutoffs, like at the Ritz in Paris, they quietly escort you out. That was a type of luxury that I think exists for many years, and in some places still does. But I think the consumer today, the consumer that has the means to enjoy our experience wants a different type of a luxury. It's more accessible, more customized, service oriented without being too stuffy.
Yeah.
And I think most brands now around the country are trying to do this. We are certainly far from alone in doing this, but I think all of our hotels now have quietly evolved to that nature. We still want to be hyper customized so that somebody gets an experience that they are looking for
Yeah.
and delivered in a way that they want it delivered. So while some generations want their luxury experience delivered on a digital device, there are generations that want to be able to have a live human to be able to point them in the direct. We should be able to do both and be able to pivot between both, because you might need digital for one aspect, personalized on another, but it should be accessible and easy for you to be able to determine and throttle back and forth depending upon your needs. That's kind of where we're going with it. We don't want anyone to feel like they aren't welcome. We have compared ourselves to other destinations, and there's a very bougie destination not far from us that was the site of the old movie Pretty Woman. And remember that that scene in Pretty Woman where Julieta Roberts towards the end goes into the store that she's been snubbed, and they didn't pay attention to her when she was, a call girl. But when Richard Gere gave her a bunch of money, went in, held up a bunch of bags and said, "See, mistake, big mistake.
Yep.
You didn't treat me right when you could have." That's the kind of experience we want to avoid. We don't really care. We want people to come and enjoy themselves, spend money, but we don't want it to be so exclusive that you don't feel like you're welcomed anywhere else in town. And I think that's kind of our vibe. And even, Craig can speak to this. Some of the wealthiest, most successful people in town, you would have no idea who they are when they're walking around town.
I would be able to identify them because they're probably the most casually dressed.
They are. They they might have a cool car, they might be living on the harbor, they might have a great yacht, but, they're walking around in T-shirts and shorts and flip-flops. Some of our biggest business leaders, that's how they go to work.
Yeah.
Yes,
In
they
the
do.
and we embrace it. It's good because it's openness to all, accessibility for all, obviously within a luxury tier, but it's not one of those things where unless you have the right bank account, we just don't have the time for you. That's not how we roll.
Yeah. Correct.
I was gonna say, if you look at the history of Newport Beach, before the freeways and all of that, and, we had quite a connection, still do, to the entertainment community. They're down here. Yeah, that goes back to Roy Disney, Errol Flynn, and various others keeping their boats down here and sailing. But Gary, my question to you is, we're coming up on the holidays. What do you have planned to show off our fair city?
Love it.
Well, Craig, you were mentioning about the Christmas boat parade. which, started out as a festival of lanterns on God way back when. Uh, and now, of course, it's a huge event, over 100 boats. We have grand marshals. It's televised. We get over 1 million people over the course of 5 nights. It's it's terrific. But we also discovered in the community, and it really kind of started with the boat parade and kind of spread throughout the community, in that the sense that we have a lot of great holiday events that have been going on their own for many, many years. Our community has kind of an infatuation, obsession on tree lighting. They
Yep.
need You can't just flip a switch. It's got to be singers and dancers and all that stuff. And that happens at all of our hotels. It happens at Fashion Island. We have the Dunes has a big fire and ice festival. So we have come up with 50 days of festive fun. It'll be starting in a couple of weeks, and we are the longest running Christmas festival in the United States. If you count that
Ah,
every single day, we have a different event going on in the city all over the place, that you can come and access. And we never really put them all together until a couple years ago. These things were all happening organically. And so we said, what happens if we really count them and see where they are? And we found out we had an abundance of riches. It wasn't like we were creating anything. We just simply took what was out there and put a bow on it because there was so much going on. So we like to consider ourselves the most festive holiday city in the United States. Certainly, we got the biggest boat parade in the United States, but we wanted to build other things around it too, which helps us obviously from a business standpoint. We know that traditionally occupancy slower in December as well. This goes through the first week of January, so that gives us a
right.
little runway as well. So
So it's not all about filling the hotel rooms, although we are a hotel focused show. I'm thinking about, yeah, it feels luxury, but it's also that chill, casual experience that we were talking about. And I just think about Craig's community, just going for a walk around there, going and getting frozen banana kind of a thing, going to some local shops and buying, a new sun related item or something like that. So it is, to me, it feels like very accessible to, everybody, no matter what your price point is, and I think that's what these festivals do. They bring in that kind of people. Yeah, Craig?
I was gonna say, also, I would point out, Glenn, you were able to do that in January here in Newport Beach, and you couldn't do that at home.
No, I could, I would just have to wear 87 layers of clothes.
You know,
yeah.
Gary, we've got quite a reputation in the city as well for food and beverage, and that's, elevated a lot of different games here in Newport, and it's constantly evolving. What are you seeing at the forefront? What's going to be the next big thing that's coming to our community that we can share with the world?
Laser cats.
Yeah. Laser- That would be an attraction. Um, No, well, we've had a number of really nice high-end restaurants. We're the newest outpost of the RH franchise, Restoration Hardware, as it was known, and Gary Freeman, the CEO, decided to make Newport Beach the focal point of of a lot of their national sales efforts. So they built a spectacular facility that took almost 3 years to get up. But
Wow.
at the top is a beautiful restaurant, that you can dine on and get views of the ocean, all that. It and their grand opening party was epic, by the way. Sydney Sweeney, everyone was at this party.
Nice.
Probably the most expensive grand opening party in the history of Newport Beach. I think it was like $3 million. But got that. We have Ocean 48, which is a high-end steak restaurant started by the founders of Mastro's. And then over to Aspen Island, we have the new Ralph Lauren store going in with Ralph's Coffee. And that new concept, that'll be the first on the West Coast. That should open up probably by February of next year. So we're excited about that. So I would say in terms of trends, we're going for the unique, the exclusive, high end, and something that has a sense of place and character that relates to the brand of Newport Beach. And I think that's happening throughout the whole thing.
Give me, like, like a self check you guys do to make sure that everything you do remains in that criteria and you don't lose your focus?
Excellent question. And I will tell you that if you want to know, I think our secret of success as a destination, it boils down to one thing, and that is we have a very well understood, well articulated brand promise that we use as our destination focal point. And again, a brand promise really describes, both the functional and emotional benefits of a city. We use it as a filter test to kind of use it as our marketing, but more importantly, our partners use it. So Bob Olson, who is
We know Bob. Yeah,
he's
we
my
know.
Bob pal,
Neighbor.
right?
Yeah.
Bob Olson took our brand promise and said, I want this brand promise, which was developed by the DMO, to actually become the prototype for Lido House Hotel.
Yeah.
So 131 room hotel built on a destination brand promise because they said, we want this to not just be a nice high-end boutique property,
Right.
part of the autograph collection. We want to make this infused with Newport Beach culture. And so we sat down with him literally and measured our brand promise, which was developed in 2006, still holds true today. And it then becomes evolving for products throughout the whole city. So, Legal 4 has used it. VEA certainly, was created with that in mind. So it is a little unusual that a DMO would come up with the ideas of a destination brand and that everyone in the community would understand it, appreciate it, and execute against. I think that's a part.
Yeah, Gary, I'll tell you, I do a lot of the design focus shows on here, and a lot of it is the teams having to go and understand and become one with the community. And the fact that you guys have gone to the trouble creating this shorthand document that probably helps create a quicker investment and makes people want to invest more in infrastructure in your neighborhood.
It clearly does, and it is remarkable if you look at the brand promise, how the city has evolved consistent with it. And it's and it really because we are a city of many neighborhoods, we are not a monolith, and that's the important thing. Even for a small city, I think Craig would acknowledge we have lots of distinctive areas.
His area, Balboa Island, is insanely distinctive and separate from everything else.
Very much so, very much so. So we don't wanna diminish that, but we also want them to be a part of a larger whole, which is the Newport Beach brand. And again, every neighborhood has kind of its we consider it a potluck, right? You're bringing your neighborhood potluck to the overall party of Newport Beach. And somehow the potluck, all the ingredients all seem to work. That's kind of what we tried to do. But it doesn't happen by accident. And that's the important thing is intentionality when it comes to developing a destination and making sure its products fit in with the character, the tone, the uniqueness, the brand of a destination. I think I cannot think of another destination that does it consistently well as we do without it being like a theme park. We're not a theme park. We are organic, but we do want to make sure that all of our parts fit into a complementary whole.
One of the problems that I'm seeing for other organizations like you is I'm seeing a homogeneity of design and culture around our country that's robbing organizations such as yours of the ability to really tap into that. You're very blessed to have that at at your disposal of all those tools in your toolkit.
Yeah, we do. And Glenn, you are absolutely right. I mean, our team knows if you want to put an ad with two people holding hands on the beach, it immediately could get rid of it. And you can see that anywhere. I mean,
Gary, then how about this idea? A woman is laying down and she has rocks on her back.
yeah, okay, there you go. I know. Or she's in a bathrobe, half asleep, you know, out, right? Somewhere. Yeah. We've seen it a million times, and that's one reason why we're really proud that we don't even have an ad agency. Everything that we do, all of our creative is all done in house because we again want to be hyper focused on making sure our brand story is conveyed. And if you have a beach shot, it better be a defining beach shot that shows some element that says only in Newport Beach will you find that. And but you're right, it's the sea of sameness that's out there with DMOs, and they take safe ways of trying to do things because they need to have their boards approve their advertising or what have you. That is the death of good marketing, having boards approve creative. It just kills everything. So we have never done that, and keeping everything in-house, I think, has given us a competitive advantage.
That's beautiful. Craig, I know you want to say something.
So I'm guessing the obligatory shot of somebody at the pool being handed a drink with umbrellas in it isn't part of the programming either.
We've done similar shots, but you clearly know when you see that it can only that particular shot is at a unique, iconic aspect of Newport Beach, so that it's not just where is that Fort Lauderdale? Where is this? It clearly says who we are. Or
This is cool, and I'm just thinking this together. And you're right about that sea of sameness, and I think it's a challenge that we all have in society. And it's easy to take the easy route out and say, "Oh, this is what other people are doing," but you have to take chances to be able to really understand how to market to your audiences. And it's getting tough because I found when you try to appeal to everyone, you appeal to no one.
Buddy.
As- s- I, Glenn, you echo what I say all the time.
Awesome.
Say this all the time.
Yeah.
Again, when people say we have something for everybody, it's impossible. You cannot offer something for everybody, and destinations need to give that up. Find out what you're great at, what you can really deliver, and own it. And really double down on it rather than trying to do what everybody else is doing. I mean, our mantra here, and the team is sick of hearing me say it, is when people zig, I want to zag. I want to go into blue ocean territories and try to take our marketing and I'm not saying we're perfect. We'll make mistakes, but I'm okay with making mistakes in the spirit of great creative enterprise. And I'd rather take a chance and not have it work than try to do the same thing as everyone else and not have the advertising have any effectiveness. So, we do measure our effectiveness, our campaigns, and most of them are, swings and hits, and we do great with them. Occasionally we go, well, maybe we're going to revisit that. And that's okay too. And nobody,
Sure, you learn from it, and for every one that's a swing and a miss, you took chances on other things that would have been that have become a success. And if you don't have that culture there, then you fall into that sea of sameness again, and you're not going to be able to break through the clutter.
that's exactly it. And it's too many DMOs are too timid. They're too afraid. They, just want to be able to hold on to their jobs and keep their organizations funded versus really make a measurable difference. And I say to our hotels all the time, we can't be just additive as an organization. We need to be, and I'm very serious about it. We need to be essential to the businesses that we serve, specifically the hotels, because they have their salespeople. We have Marriott hotels that have the most awesome global sales force in the country. We have other brands like Hyatt here as well, and we have private hotels. But we need to be able to offer something where they can say, you know what, thanks to your work, we couldn't get that from any other organization. And that's where your value comes to us, not because you're nice to have, but if you went away tomorrow, our business model would be fundamentally altered and damaged. That's where the space I think every DMO needs to be able to play. And too often people go, "Oh, you got your DMO visit blank. How are they?" Well, they're nice. Nice people. Yeah. Great. They did a nice visitor guide. Oh my God. That would like be a stake in my heart if somebody said that.
God, yeah.
Yeah. Man, last question I have for you is where have you been all my life? I'm loving this conversation, man. This is great. Your attitude is really refreshing. And it's something that I think all of us, even if we live in that spirit, need to hear from time to time. It keeps us on the right track. It keeps us moving forward and being successful. Craig, any final words for our guy Gary over here?
Gary, I thank you and your team for the job that you're doing and having this conversation with you. You've got the pride and ownership that we want, and to show off our community. And, Newport Beach is a destination on a lot of different levels. But you know what? We're business friendly, we're resident friendly, we're visitor friendly. Come see us. Who knows? You might see Glenn and I on the beach, but we won't be holding hands. But we may have an aluminum cup with something in it, but that's we will know.
We got a lot of places that'll fill that cup for you, kid.
That's good. I don't know what your laws are, but I will only do things if it's legal and or moral, as they said. I have a dream of being a concierge, Gary. That's gonna be my answer for everything. I'll do it as legal and moral. Gary, how about a good plug for Newport Beach before we let you go?
I've been here now for a long time, almost 2 decades, and I have to tell you, I've been in the DMO world, for even longer than that, and this destination has a very unique culture and style. And, I like to say that even though we're a glitzy kind of aspirational destination, at our heart, we're Mayberry, USA. We are very much of a small town. We always have that small town feeling at heart. And I think having the fact that, yes, you can be in elegance, but still have a soul and still be able to find things that, connect with you. Where Craig lives, you can walk down the beach. You were saying about having a Balboa bar. There's a great candy store. We're family friendly. Newport Beach really is a unique destination from that standpoint. And we really do set ourselves apart from our competitors, certainly in Southern California. The most important thing I want people to understand, though, however, is that when people come to Southern California, they've never been here before. Maybe they've heard about us through song and film and television shows. Newport Beach really does deliver on the Southern California that people imagine it to be in their minds. Not every destination does that. We've gone to a lot of places where they go, well, I thought I was getting this, but in reality, it's something else. That's not the way we are. When you come here, you feel like, oh, this is what the Beach Boys were writing about. This is what I've imagined it in all of these great films that have told this story that we've seen so long. So we welcome people to come here. We encourage people, and anything we can do to enhance their visit, we're here for you.
Awesome, Gary. Thank you so much for being here. We really
Pleasure.
appreciate it. Thank you, and I want to thank all of you guys for being here. Craig, now remember today you're going to need a sign off thing, so think about that real quick. And while Craig's thinking about that, hey, be sure to like, share, subscribe this video, all of that kind of good stuff. Follow us on LinkedIn. Follow Craig Sullivan on LinkedIn. Craig, quick shameless plug for yourself.
Hey, we've got our 11th season of Click Connect, so join us on YouTube, LinkedIn, and the other social media pages. We just dropped a new show this morning with David Bowman, and we're talking about hotel brokerage coast to coast and his foundation. So
That's great. And by this morning, Craig means a couple of weeks ago. So there's that. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for watching. And remember, you've got one life, so blaze on. And
aloha.
there you go. See y'all later. Bye, everybody.